Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Inspiring Retail stage here at Autumn Fair 2021. Our final guest speaker of the day is the lovely Davies, who's the founder of Mojo Coach, and she'll be combating founders' fatigue and re-energizing your business. So please give a big, warm welcome to Rue, please.
Hello, thank you very, very much. How are we all? Are we having a good time? This just feels amazing, doesn't it, to be back in an event with real life. We haven't got a Zoom screen in front of us and making sure we're not on mute, etc. So thank you for joining me today, because this is very exciting for me, and thank you for coming to join me. There will be an opportunity at the end for a Q&A, so please don't be shy. Thank you for the intro. I'm Rue, I'm a coach, and whilst I work with people one-to-one and in groups, I also absolutely love speaking and connecting with an audience, and my goal every time I speak is that at least you take one thing away, that as an audience you have one takeaway that tomorrow, next week, in your businesses, you can start to implement. Whether it triggers you to start thinking differently, making some changes. So hopefully you'll find today that there's one nugget that you go, okay, yeah, that's something that I can take away. So today we are here to talk about founders' fatigue and how we can combat it. So you are all very, very special breed of people. You are brave, you are dedicated, you are passionate, you spend a lot of time operating outside of your comfort zone, doing things, the reason you set up your business, doing things that are important to you, that matter to you. But there comes a unique set of challenges when you are a founder. And I work with people just like you every day, trying to keep their head in the game and keep their business in the game, because it's really common to lose your way and become derailed when you are running your own business. So we're going to shine a spotlight on that today and first of all explain what founders fatigue is, because it's got a real habit of creeping up on you when you're not looking, because you're super busy. But also you can combat it. You can equip yourself with the tools to feel much more in control and not become a slave to your business. So first of all, I want to take a moment for you to just check in and ask you, how full is your tank? And I'm talking about your energy levels. So number 10 is you are on fire, you are energized, you are absolutely head in the game, you are smashing your targets, you have a plan. 0 is you are on your knees. You are questioning if you even want to do this anymore. Every day is a slog. So check in just for a moment and think about, where are you today on that scale? Try not to overthink it. Try and think, okay, today, I'm feeling at an 8. And think about the reasons why. I'm feeling at a 3. And the reason I'm talking about energy, this will be a theme throughout the session, is because energy is your most valuable resource in your business. You may think it's stock, you may think it's premises, you may think it's people, you may think it's time. It's energy. Because if you are not energized, if you are not able to operate efficiently and effectively, then you are not able to have a positive impact on your business. And actually, you can start to have a negative impact on your business, because not only are you not showing up the way you want to, your actions are actually sabotaging your progress. So it's really important that you take the time to check in. And this is a question that I would encourage you to ask every day. It takes 2 minutes to just start practicing that self-awareness. And again, that's something we're going to build on throughout the session today. So what is founders fatigue? It may be a term that you've heard before. It is essentially what founders of businesses experience when they are pulling their companies up and through to the next level. Think about it. You're on a treadmill and it's just set to a continuous incline. It's that feeling of pushing and pulling up to those next levels. So that could be from launch to maybe securing funding, scaling up, resourcing, recruiting, keeping up with the retail cycles, the purchasing schedules, continuous levels. There's never really a time when you think, okay, I've reached the top. You're continuously climbing for that next level. And also pushing through those inevitable challenges that come when you're a founder. And we've certainly had, shared challenges in the last 18 months. Brexit and COVID are the obvious ones. But there's always challenges that may be happening outside of your business. For example, school holidays. How many of, huge smile of relief weight come off your shoulders when your kids went back on Friday, or maybe that's happening on Monday for you? There's physical and mental challenges, and they're going to be inevitable. So it's understanding that founders' fatigue is a thing, and it is there waiting, and it can creep up on you. So it's about understanding and being aware so you can spot the signs, and then being equipped with how you can make sure it doesn't derail you. First of all, I want you to read that and really read it. We are human beings, not human doings. We're not robots. We're not computers. We're not superheroes. We can't simply upgrade, plug in new memory. It doesn't work like that. We're human beings. Matt Haig has a lovely, lovely analogy that he talks about in a chapter in one of his books, where he talks about, with music, okay, you need space between the notes for the music to sound good. With writing, you need punctuation in the sentences for it to be coherent. In life, it's exactly the same. We need rest and reflection to intrinsically enable us to make sense of the world around us, for us to make sense of our businesses, to be able to operate and thrive. That rest and reflection and that space isn't a sign that you're weak. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign that you can't cope. You've taken on too much. You've made the wrong decision. We are human beings. The way that our brains and our bodies are designed is that we need rest and reflection. It's an intrinsic part of how we're designed. And if we continue to believe and act and set ourselves standards of computers and robots, we can keep on going, we are going to fall. So remembering that we are human beings. So when we look at human beings, and I've talked about energy already, let's look for the common drains that zap our energy as founders. So always being on. Okay, so this isn't a 9 to 5. This isn't a Monday to Friday. You're here on a Sunday. Holly Tucker often talks about her businesses being like her babies. And being a founder absolutely is so closely aligned with being a parent. You don't switch it off. You aren't a parent till 6 p.m. and then we'll switch that off. And then tomorrow morning I'll switch that back on again. It's just the same when you are running your own business. And understanding that passion and devotion and that interest, that you may enjoy always being on, but understanding that it will drain your energy, always having that button switched on. The next one, wearing many hats. So this is company of one, right? If you think about the last week, you've probably done social media, marketing, invoicing, accounts, recruitment, buying, packaging. I'm sure there is heaps and heaps and heaps of things. Even if you have reached the scale where you do have a team, you are still wearing lots of hats. And understanding that will drain your energy. You are having to change hats, and sometimes, I know I do as a founder, wearing lots of hats at the same time. Complex challenges. This isn't easy, right? You are running your own business, and some of the challenges that you are going to be navigating are going to need serious brain power and specific skills. Now, having those specific skills and being able to think through the problem solving, the new ideas, whatever it may be, they're complex. And they absolutely are going to need more energy for you to expend on them. High standards. Okay, so you had an idea. You have a vision that is guiding your business. You want it to thrive. You want to succeed. You want it to be the best it can be. So you've set the bar here, okay? You have set the bar so high because you care about this. But understand that, again, when you are working to such high standards and have such high expectations of yourself, again, that is going to drain on the energy. Personal responsibility, okay? If you do have a team, if you do have assistant managers, you do have deputies, you have outsourced, the buck still stops with you. There's that level of personal responsibility, which again, that will take its toll. That brings with it pressure and will zap energy. And finally, the sixth one that is so common for founders is this continuous growth. You are always striving. Remember that treadmill. Remember that next level. You know, it's addictive, right? Success, you build, you build, you build, you grow. You are always striving, always pushing. And that continuous growth, that continuous pace, again, can take its toll. So when you are feeling low, if you're sitting there and your energy, you've said, actually, I'm at about a 2 out of 10, or generally, I think I'm sitting at a 4 or a 5, that's not because you're doing a rubbish job. That's not because you're not coping very well. It's because you're doing a lot. Where's your holiday cover? You know, where's your manager that you can escalate things to? The buck stops with you. So recognizing that this is normal. These energy drains are there because of the role, the special, unique, wonderful role that you have as a founder. But it comes at a cost. And today I'm here to help you recognize that the cost that is intrinsically linked with being a founder and help you combat that impact so the cost isn't too high. So what can it look like? Oh, tiredness, procrastination, irritability. You know, tolerance level is set so low. You're distracted, really despondent. And, you know, a lot of these signs also sit in the stable of burnout. And founders' fatigue, you know, often can lead in, if we don't catch the signs early, can lead to burnout. And often, we don't know we're in burnout. We don't know that we're dog-tired because we are in the race and we are often enjoying what we're doing. And when I work with clients, they rarely ring me up and say, I'm burnt out, I need some help. They're calling me because they have got the symptoms. They've kind of got this stuff. They're struggling with strategy, or they're just falling out of love with their business and need some help to kind of re-energize that mojo. Ultimately, it's because they're dog-tired and founders' fatigue is set in. So I am here with some good news. That first 5 minutes was like, oh, crikey. Don't worry. You can rediscover your business mojo. Okay, you absolutely can enjoy that treadmill and make sure that you're controlling the treadmill and that it's not set at a pace where you're kind of like, when do I get off? You know, my legs are going to fail me. So how do we do that? First of all, we need to switch on our radar. Now, this is so important. Remember that I mentioned that founders' fatigue and burnout has a really nasty habit of creeping up in stealth mode. And then it can just go, rah, I'm here. You know, that moment where you just can't think about, you know, getting out of bed. You just can't think of another day, another buying cycle, whatever it may be. Switch on your radar. So this will help you look for the signs. So your inner radar connect with what's happening around you. So the first way you can do that is ask yourself some questions. Okay, so take a look. When did you last ask yourself any of these questions? How's it going? You know, how is this making me feel? What can I celebrate this week? What's gone well? When did I last have a really good belly laugh? Where am I heading? Do I need help with anything? Is it time for a break? Now think about if you were employed. You'd have a one-to-one with your manager, at least once a month, right? You would have that time and space that's scheduled in for this reflection. You would have somebody whose job it is to make sure that you keep your head, that you stay on track. They would be asking you questions like this. Now, you no longer have that line manager. Now, hopefully you would be working with a coach or a mentor, or you would have somebody where you have this space for reflection. But it's super important. When I'm talking about switching on your radar, being connected, thinking about your energy levels, asking yourself questions, these are the type of questions that can be really insightful for helping you understand where you are and being connected with your business. So start taking notice, okay? Start taking notice where your energy levels are at and listening to that. If you're at a 2, understand why you're at a 2, and then think about what you can do to help push those energies back up. Think about how things are serving you. So those questions, what's gone well for me today? How am I feeling? Do I need a break? How are your actions serving you? So if you're getting up at 6:30 in the morning, because that's when you're most productive, or you're working through your lunch, or you're not delegating because you don't think you can afford it, or you don't trust people, how are those decisions serving you? If they're serving you well, excellent, carry on. But actually, if they're leading you to become stressed, overworked, anxious, then it's time for readdressing, okay, what would serve me better? So that leads on to the next taking notice point of start thinking about what would serve you well. A walk at lunchtime, an out of office at the weekend, delegating, delaying some plans, working with an accountability buddy if you're finding that you're constantly missing deadlines. Start brainstorming and thinking, okay, what would serve me well? And basically coming off that treadmill and starting asking questions that are outside of the day-to-day business of your business. So something I absolutely recommend is ring-fencing time for the check-ins. So how many of you have a meeting with yourself regularly? You schedule it into your diary, and it's meeting with me. So my clients often call it CEO time, because also we rarely acknowledge that we are the MD, the CEO. If you had investors, some of you may have investors, they'd want a board meeting. We rarely dedicate that time for ourselves. So starting to schedule in regular check-ins where hopefully you could ask some of the questions that I've gone through today, but just checking in with yourself. How are you doing? Where's the business going? Because then you can feel more in control. So part of those check-ins, and part of hopefully today will help you to take a step back, is remembering your why. You didn't apply for a job. You chose to set up your own business. Why did you do that? Why did you choose to set up your own business? There was a reason, okay? Was there this amazing gem of an idea that got you so excited that you went, yes, I've got to make that happen? Maybe there was a problem that you just needed to solve. Remember what that reason was and align to it. Make sure that you are really closely aligned and putting that at the heart of everything you do. Because when the process stuff and the day-to-day stuff just gets too much and the obstacles are just coming thick and fast, this is your life. This is your life raft. This is what is going to help you centered, because it can get to a stage where actually if you move too far away from this, then it gets so in such a bad place that you think, actually, I'm ready to walk away. And what a shame that would be. So why am I talking about remembering your reason why? It's because that will help you reconnect with your purpose. And purpose, best friends with passion. Okay? So when you're aligned with your passion, with your why, that's when you become intuitive. That's when you start to really be able to problem solve and think with your gut. And the procrastination becomes a thing of the past because you are so in tune with your business, why you're here, how you want to show up, and what you want to achieve. You're engaged because you're doing stuff that interests you. You're doing stuff that stems to the reason why you started your business in the first place. You're allowing space for creativity, whether that's problem solving, whether that's new ideas, for thinking differently. And you are energized. Remember, all of this is about combating fatigue. Fatigue is low energy. Everything we're talking about today is boosting that energy. So you are energized. Your head is in the game. Okay, you are absolutely operating how you want to within your business. So if there's one thing that you take away from today, please let it be this slide. I've talked about energy being your most valuable resource in your business, okay? If you don't protect it, nobody will, okay? So you have an accountant to help you protect your funds, your finance. They'll tell you, oh, you know, we need to watch out there, we need to protect, we need to pull back. Other areas of your business, you maybe have somebody managing your stock, or you'll have alerts that flash. Who is protecting your energy? No one. You. So that is the number one job as a founder. Protecting your energy means that you will be able to operate and thrive the way you want to. Remember that you can do anything you want. You can pivot, which I'm sure you've all done through COVID. You can collaborate. You can change direction. You can do anything you want in your business. You can grow, you can scale, but you can't do everything. Remember, we're human beings. It's impossible. Your energy has limits. It's not infinite. And when you start to realize that, and sometimes that's a bit of a light bulb moment for like, actually, I want to do all of this. You can only do so much. There are limits. So understanding there is a cognitive cost, okay? So we're all familiar with physical costs. Yeah, if you run a marathon, you all walk around here today, you're at an exhibition for 3 days, you understand there's a cost to that. You understand you'll be tired. And you'll schedule in breaks. You'll say, okay, I've been at a show for three days. I'm going to have a slow Monday or a slow Wednesday whenever you're back in the office. Cognitive cost is invisible. Okay, so it's not like a bank account. It's not like physically, I'm shattered, I need more sleep. The cognitive cost is invisible. Your energy is invisible. So understanding there is a cognitive cost to everything you do. And a really great way to help you understand and connect with that cognitive cost is if you start to spend your energy like you spend your money. So imagine every single day you wake up, £1,000 has been deposited into your bank account. Without fail, every single morning that £1,000 is there. I can absolutely, I'd place a bet on it that you would think how to spend that money. Because it's there, it's tangible. You would think about, what's going to give me ROI on this? Is that worth the purchase? You know that it's going to run out. If you blow that £1,000 by 9:05, you know that you have no more money for the rest of the day. You can do no more. You can spend no more money till the next morning. Thinking in the same way, so it's valuable. You can see it. You can see the numbers moving down in your bank account, and you know it's going to run out. Your energy is exactly the same. So you wake up on a fresh day. How many of you get to 10 o'clock and think, oh my God, how have I got here? Where's that 2 hours just gone? How many of you think really carefully about, where am I going to get the best return on investment from where I spend my time? How do I want to feel? What's going to be a wise way to spend my time? Who do I want to spend time and energy with? Where do I best want to place my efforts within the business? When you can start to go through that same thinking, it will be an absolute game changer with how you protect your energy. Because you start to spend mindfully and with purpose. So you cancel meetings that you don't necessarily need to be at. You stop doing things for free. You start really thinking about, especially if we're time poor, and that is one of the biggest things that I talk about when I work with founders. Time, they really struggle because often being a founder is the only thing they've got going on in their life. And I'm sure that's the same for you. There's an awful lot of other things happening. Some of you may still be part-time employed, maybe a parent, you may have volunteering commitments, whatever it may be. So if you can start to really spend your time mindfully with purpose, that's when you're going to start seeing huge returns because you're spending your energy where it's going to have most impact. So another thing I can't not talk about when I'm talking about energy is boundaries. Think about boundaries when we're talking about personal boundaries as invisible bubbles. We can't see them, okay? It's really easy to put a boundary around your property. It's really easy to say, we're closed. There's a closed sign on the door. Put a fence at the bottom of your driveway saying no access, no parking. It's really easy to map out physical boundaries. It's much, much harder to do it with personal boundaries because no one can see them. So why are boundaries important? They help you conserve energy. Because without boundaries, you're just saying, yeah, come and take some. Come and take some. What would you like from me? They help boost self-esteem because you feel empowered. You have a sense of self-assurance which builds confidence. And you feel in control because you've got a greater sense of independence. You're putting yourself in the driving seat. So how do we set boundaries? First of all, know your limits. So figure out where you stand. We all have different boundaries. We all have different limits. Consider what you can tolerate and what makes sense for you. What makes you feel uncomfortable and stressed. Identifying those feelings can help you clarify what your limits are. So where do you want to start mapping out your boundaries? Be heard. So setting boundaries can actually be quite easy to do. Policing them is a whole other ball game. Okay, so if I've said to myself, I'm no longer going to work evenings, I'm going to go for a lunchtime walk, and I'm not going to work weekends, and I am not going to give my time for free. Okay, I have put those boundaries in place, but I haven't told anybody. So how can people respect my boundaries if I've not communicated them to them? So people are still going to email me at the weekend. People are still going to be expecting me to work for free. People are still going to come to me at 8 p.m. on a WhatsApp call because I've not communicated what my boundaries are. So don't be afraid to communicate. And then when somebody crosses that boundary, be assertive. Don't reply. Reply back, not being apologetic, but reply back and say, I'm now back at work. I've seen your email from last night. So please, set boundaries in your mind. Decide what they are for you, but then communicate them. The next one is giving yourself permission. A lot of you may get nervous, feel guilty, doubt yourself when you start to set boundaries. If you even deserve boundaries in the first place, you're starting, if you're in the startup phase of your business, we are taught that we have got to work hard. We've got to say yes to every opportunity. It's part of the game. It's not. If it's causing you to be anxious and stressed, then you need to place your boundaries there. So giving yourself permission, self-respect to set them in the first place, and then permission to maintain them and police them. And then start small. If just listening to me talking about setting boundaries is making you feel, oh, that sounds scary, not sure I can do that. What if people aren't happy with me doing that and kind of push back? Maybe a business partner, maybe customers. Start small. Anytime you are moving out of your comfort zone with this or within your business, don't make it so scary by trying to make huge strides. Just take baby steps. Just start small, and it's going to help. And then you're going to have small wins, and it's going to build your confidence. Then you can really start to tackle the more challenging boundaries that maybe you are going to shut the business for 2 weeks every summer because you want to spend time with your young family. And you're going to actually be proud of that boundary and communicate that to your customers. So understanding that boundaries, you don't have to dive straight in. If it feels really stressful for you, know that they are essential, but start small. The next thing is making sure that you set yourselves goals. Goal setting is so important in all facets of running a business, and I'm sure that you have your business goals. I'm sure that you have your 1, 3, 5 year goals. often financial targets, but also have your personal goals for how you want to react and show up in your business. Now, the reason goals are so important is exactly, this is just the best quote ever when I am explaining why goals are important. If you don't have a goal, you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. That whole busy fool. You know, you're just running around, you're super busy, you're working really hard, but you aren't getting the results that you want. You're expending so much energy. So when you can set yourself goals, again, it goes back to operating with purpose, mindfully. Goals can help you do that. So why do goals matter? They help you get your head in the game. They help you really focus and get clarity on what you're doing, what you want to achieve, and how you can get there. They boost your motivation because you are not going to set yourself goals that aren't linked to your why. Remember, go why back to why did you start this business? What energizes you? Link that to your goals. Don't look at what your competitors are doing and what you think you should be doing. Link it to you and your business, because then it'll really boost your motivation. It will help energize you. Energy, think of two sides of the coin. We've got the side of the coin that can de-energize us, so spending time with people that don't serve us well or doing tasks that don't energize us. And we can do things, we can work really hard, but when we're working hard for things that we care about, that we enjoy, they're going to boost your energy. Think about the bank account analogy. You're going to be putting payments into your energy account rather than continuously spending. They really help you manage your time. So as founders, often as talks about time, being time poor, wearing many hats, they allow you to really structure your time. And I really encourage with my clients when we're mapping out your schedule and what do you do in a day, link it to goals. So first of all, have I gone through? Oh, there we go. So goals. You need to be smart. And I am sure that you've probably come across this in some form or another, especially if you spent time in corporate life. You can't work in corporate and not be told to devise some smart goals. Smart goals. Goals are pretty meaningless if they're not well thought out and smart. So be specific. What do you want to do? We're not setting intentions and talking about desires. Be very, very specific about what you want to do. So, grow sales is a desire. It's an intention. It's not a specific goal. Launch a new collection. It's not specific enough. Reach new audience. Grow market share. These are all desires, visions, intentions. Be really specific. Think about exactly what it is you want to achieve. Make sure it's measurable. How will you know when you've achieved it? Now, this is really easy because if you're specific, you'll be able to measure it. So, the example that I use, because it's just so easy to relate to, is not business related, but it's about losing weight, okay? I want to lose weight. Well, how are you going to know when you've achieved it? If you're not saying, right, I want to lose half a stone by Christmas, then you'll know. Get to Christmas if you lost half a stone or not. So being specific and putting metrics with it, whether that's time, whether it's followers on social media, whether it's online sales, whether it's the hours that you're working, be specific so you can measure it. Make sure it's attainable or achievable. Can you accomplish it? Now, is it in your power to accomplish it? Now, if the answer's no, it doesn't mean that you can't go after that goal, but it means that you will need to acquire new skills, outsource, delegate. What do you need to be able to achieve that goal? And it's very closely linked with it being realistic. So as founders, we talked about how you have this passion, this desire. You want to grow and thrive, and especially if you have revisited and gone back to your why. But remember, you can't do everything. Is it realistic? Financially, time-wise, current market environment? Because if it's not realistic, you're setting yourself up to fail, which will only drain energy. And making sure that your goals are time-bound. So know exactly when you want to achieve it. So many people set SMART goals. Go, yeah, I've set my goals. But then you just drift because you've not given yourself an end date. And the reason that so many people miss out the tea is because that's when it gets real. So you can say, I want to increase revenue by 20% from online sales by March 2022. Specific, measurable, you've checked it's attainable and realistic. If you've not put the date on, that 20% just rolls and rolls and rolls. And you start to drift. Then the whole sabotage comes in. I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm failing. People are scared to put a time on because if you think of goals as success and failure, you're always going to be worried about pinning yourself down to too many specifics. Think about goals as a carrot, not a stick. As a coach, I'm quite controversial in that I absolutely urge my clients to create goals, but I'm not that bothered if they achieve them. Because having the goals is what's going to help you make progress. It's what's going to help you make those strides towards. So say your goal is to increase revenue by 20% by March 2022. Okay? You get to March 2022, you've increased revenue by 17%. You're really going to sit there and go, oh, failed. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. You've increased revenue by 17%. So the goal has helped you. Remember, all those things, it's motivated you. It's helped you plan your time. It's given you focus. Without setting that goal, would you have reached that 17%? You wouldn't have. You may have increased slightly, but you've been reaching for that finish line. You've been reaching for that 20%. So see the goals as a carrot for you to aim at, to motivate you, for you to have a goal on the horizon, not for it to be something that you beat yourself up about and use it as a stick, which will only serve to decrease your motivation and zap your energy. So I'll give you a couple of examples. To earn more money, not smart. What would be smart? So to increase revenue by 30% from direct online sales by February 2022. And this actually came from a client that I'm working with at the moment, is that their online sales are fantastic and have absolutely boomed, but are all through partner sites. They're not getting the traffic and the traction directly. So then there's a risk involved with, relying on your partners to continually sell. So she has set herself a target that she wants to really focus direct online sales. So very specific, very measurable. We've talked about what she needs to make sure that's attainable. And it's got a time stamp. To work less hours. I don't think I've ever worked with anybody in all of the areas that I coach. So I coach people personally and within businesses in leadership positions and small businesses. And everybody, ideally, I go, oh, what would a perfect day look like? If you could wish for anything, I'd work less. I'd go on holiday more. I'd have the evenings off. I'd pick my kids up from school. All of us ultimately want that business success and want that wonderful professional achievements and accomplishment. But we'd all like to work a bit less, right? But that's a desire. That isn't a goal. So how can you build a goal? And again, this is about setting boundaries. Very specific. What does working less look like for you? So work 30 hours a week, Monday to Friday, between 9 and 6 by the start of October. Very, very specific. And again, if you are currently working 7 days a week for at least 5 hours a day, even if you get to the start of October, and actually, generally most days you're still clocking off at 7, but you're used to clock off at 10, the goals worked. So again, sitting there going, oh, failed. Goals aren't about that. Goals are about helping you get your head in the game and having a target on the wall to focus on. So I talked at the beginning about you being equipped with a toolkit to help you combat founders' fatigue. What does that toolkit look like? First of all, check in, be aware, switch on your radar. So ask yourself questions. Be connected with how things make you feel. Protect your energy. It's your number one asset within your business. So protect it. Understand what you can do to really start looking at putting boundaries in place, the mindset that comes with your energy. So it's not a free-for-all. It's waking up and saying, today, this is where I'm going to place my energy. Boundaries, absolutely establishing them, and that isn't just setting them and you understanding your limits. It's about letting people know. It's about putting an out-of-office on. It's about, if you put an out-of-office on and you still answer the email, then you're telling somebody, hey, don't respect that boundary, because I'm not respecting it. So please, lead by examples. Give yourself permission to really work by boundaries. Align with your purpose. Whether you are a year into your business or 15 years into your business, when you can align with your purpose and keep your why really, really close to the center of what you're doing, that will keep you very much away from spending time in areas of business that don't serve you well. So remember why you set up your business. Remember what energized you. And create focus by setting goals. So understand what good will look like for you. How do you want to feel? Where do you want to be? Knowing that, having a vision for your business, setting intentions isn't enough. Spend some time really, really setting out goals. And then, with goals, if you struggle to keep to goals, buddy up with somebody. Accountability when it comes to goals. Saying your goals out loud and asking somebody to check in. So monthly, it may be a colleague, it could be a peer network, keeping each other on track. And if you do want to email me after the session, then I've got a really nice crib sheet, worksheet that will help you through the process of setting goals. Don't worry, it's not a 12-page document. It's a one-pager. But it'll help you with some questions to really set you into the right frame of mind for setting goals. So thank you for coming to listen to me. I really hope there are some questions for me in person, but maybe on live stream as well. If you do want to follow me, there's not many Rue Davies and there's not many Mojo coaches, so you'll find me. I generally hang out on Instagram and I love kind of an IGTV and share lots of practical tips. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, and let me know, raise your hand if anybody wants to ask anything about what I've covered today, or anybody who's got any other questions about being a founder and how tough it can be.
We've got a question over here.
Hello.
Hi. First of all, thank you very much. I don't know if anyone else feels really seen right now, but yeah, that hit hard, so thank you. My question is, you talked about setting boundaries and people obviously not respecting your boundaries. For example, emailing you at, say, 8 p.m. and expecting you to reply. And then if you have actually set your boundary and said, no, I'm not going to reply at that time, and then, say, a client responds and says, well, we can't work like this, we can't do this, how do you then stop yourself from sort of saying, oh no, I need to realign my priorities, because if I'm not serving my customers, then I'm not going to succeed? How do you sort of remind yourself that actually your health comes first and you shouldn't go back on what you've set as a boundary?
Yeah. A couple of things there. If you are serving a target market and a customer base where that's actually going to damage your business, then it's looking for ways. If you absolutely don't want to work in the evenings, can you outsource? Can you delegate so somebody else is there to interface with clients and customers? If that, for whatever business you're in, you need to have a touch point for a customer to work with at that time. But I think it's all about putting your brave pants on, really. And often we think we're going to upset somebody. And we think that actually by putting a boundary out there, that's going to cause an issue. And I think it's just trusting the process and being honest and authentic and understand why your boundary's there. So the boundary is there so you can be there the next day and serve your customers well. And so by not having that boundary there, you actually aren't, over time, then you are just going to get into a place where you don't even want to be on in the daytime, never mind in the evening. But I think it's really important, if your out of office is on and you reply, you are giving permission, you are telling that client to ignore. So it's a bit like saying, having a don't touch sign, or don't walk on the grass. Then people walk on the grass and you go, oh, hi, you're having a nice picnic. Why is the sign there? Because you're just you're telling them, yeah, ignore that. Ignore that sign. So I think it's about being brave, but it's about really believing that those boundaries are going to serve you well, and then that means that you're going to serve your business well. And actually, there can be a cost with some of those boundaries and some of those decisions. You may lose a customer, but actually, are they the right customer for you? And you can work with people that will respect your boundaries. So it's a tricky one in life and in business. But when you can really get comfortable with creating boundaries, I assure you, it really, you'll reap the rewards.
Great answer. Any more questions from the audience, please?
I know it's quite daunting. I've been in the audience and you're thinking, oh, so please do, I'll hang around for a bit at the end, or just message me, and I'll get back to you that way.
Amazing. Well, I believe we all feel re-energized and everything, so thank you, Rue. Big round of applause for Rue, please.
Thank you. I did think about maybe doing some star jumps to get our energy going, but I was like, no, because that means I'd have to do it as well. So, yeah, you've been spared of that. Thank you.